In this video, I will demonstrate how you can create a custom client portal and app using no-code tools, in particular Airtable and Softr. So if you're a personal trainer and you want to provide a highly custom experience to your customers without the overhead of using code and building your fully custom coded platform, then this video is for you. You will also find the direct link to the template that I show in the description of this video. Otherwise, you can also build it yourself and customize the app to your own liking. This is what the experience of the application looks like for the client, and then also an overview of what it looks like for you as a personal trainer. And then we're going to walk through the exact setup of the Airtable base and of the Softr app. So the client would receive an email like this. It can be customized, and since they have been invited here, there is a magic link where they can sign up. So I'm going to click on this link, and this will open the app. Also, the domain can be custom. There is also a progressive web app, which means people can also install the app. And once I'm in, I now have the account because I signed in via the magic link. That's only the first time. Then I can set up an email that is already set up by you internally and the password to sign in into the app. And here I have my personal dashboard. And the first personal dashboard, I can see this week's training sessions. Here, I can see a calendar of my training sessions, and I can see the training sessions completed per month. Right now, there's only 1 month. So as a client, I've just started. And in here, I can also see track, where I can track my progress, maybe with pictures. I can track weight, muscle mass, body fat percentage, and you can add your own trackings that I'm going to show you later how that works if you like. I can track sessions. I can view my details. This is the history over time, my programs, my nutrition plans, invoices to pay, and I can also contact you as the personal trainer. And then if I go here, I can go into my profile, and especially the first time that I log in, I can go here and set up my name, my email. I can set up a profile image, which is already here. Then I can set up my phone number and all these other information down here. Now let's go back to the homepage, and we will see how these sections work exactly later. And for you as a personal trainer, you can see all this data that flows from the app into the Airtable base, that is essentially the backend of the entire application here in your Airtable base, where you can see all the clients and you can add clients for them to sign up to the app. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to log in any way. Then you can see all the progress updates that they submit, the goals that you create with them, the training programs, the sessions within those programs, all the trackings that they do over time. So you can really overview everything in one single place, while the client doesn't have access to your backend. They do not have access to Airtable. They only have access to the final application, that is an effective application for all intents and purposes that you can customize fully, although there are some limitations within Softr that we want to see later in detail. And if you prefer, I've also set up in the Softr app this onboarding page that you can direct your users upon login if you prefer. Rather than the homepage, the first time they log in, they could be redirected to this onboarding page where they can see an overview of the key jobs that they can do in the app. So they can view and manage all the workouts. And in here, they can do that. They can track biometrics, and in here they can click to go into that page, and then they can view the training programs that they have over time. This is what it looks like, for example, the progress updates page. We're going to see this in more detail later in the video. And then down here, there is what to do next. So since it's the first time that you signed up, now next up, go and configure your profile. And this will redirect the user to the profile page that I showed you earlier, where they can set up the profile information. And if they need help, then here is a form that if they submit that form, you will directly see it in the Airtable base. There is a dedicated contact form responses table where you can also get notified via email whenever there is a contact form submitted. And before we get into the actual setup, you may want to know about pricing. For Airtable, it is best if you get at least the team plan here. That is $20 per seat per month. So if you're the only one using it, then it's going to be $20 per month. If you have an assistant or another partner that you work with and you want them to access all the data in the backend, that is Airtable, then it would be $20 per person that you give access to per month. Or you can also use the higher plans. That would be even better. When it comes to Softr, this also depends on the customization ability that you want. The professional plan is probably best because then you can have the progressive web app, which means people can actually download the app on their mobile devices, which might be desirable to you. Then you can remove the Softr branding completely, which means the app would be completely white labeled. So it's going to be your app really, fully custom. And you can also have other views and especially charts that can be useful for clients to visualize the progress over time, for example, on specific lifts or how many sessions they complete. So if you want these features, then the professional plan would be necessary. Otherwise, the basic plan is enough also to start here. You can still customize, but you do not have all the freedom that you have in professional or higher plans. Now let's go through the Airtable base and the Softr app. And the first thing that I want to show you is how the app works from a user perspective, because then you can understand how the data flows into Airtable for you to see in the backend. So this is what the user sees. And in here, there is this week's sessions. And I think one of the key jobs of the app is to allow users to track the lists, the sessions, to mark sessions as done, and to update on progress. So that's what's the focus of the app. And in here, as a user, I can see this week's sessions. I can see I have an upper body on 19th of August, a full body session on the 19th, and lower body here on the 20th. I can see the upper body A is not done yet, and I can open it, or I can mark it as done directly from here, from the dashboard. So if I open this will open the session page, and now I can see the details of the session. So there is the name, the date of the session, the checkbox if it is done or not, what program it is part of, in this case phase 2, upper lower hypertrophy, and the notes that there are here. And this is data that is inserted by you, the personal trainer. That's why as a user I can just see it and I can mark it as done once I've done the session, but I'm not able to edit the date, the program, or the notes. And now if a session has exercises, then down here you will see the list of exercises to do. So this is not a good example because upper body A doesn't have any exercises because it's only a test. But if you look at the full body session here, you will then see the same information, and then here there is a table with all the exercises. So I know that there is barbell/dumbbell bent over row, 3 sets, 5 reps. I can also adjust the width of each column here. 1 minute and a half rest. Any notes that the personal trainer inserted are gonna be here, like in this example. And then I can see the percentage of 1 max RPE that is also inserted by the personal trainer. Then tracking notes, so how to track it, for example, or how it felt once I tracked a movement. And then I can track the weight that I lifted, or the reps done, if it is a body weight exercise, for example, or if it is a RPE based exercise without specific reps. Or I can also track time if it is a time-based exercise. It's like this one, it is a farmer's carry. And in this case, we don't care about how many reps we do, but maybe we want to do a max farmer's carry hold. And in that case, I can track the time here, and I can also track the weight if I like. So as I do the exercises, or after the session, I can go here, I can log details. This will open up a form that allows me to add the tracking notes. So how it felt, then the weight that I want to track. If it is already present, then it's going to show up here. And that's why here I can see it, because I already tracked it. But now if I want, I can also edit this number. If I want to track the reps that I did, that's where I can insert the data. And then I will do update. I will do 12, I can update it, and this will then be reflected on the table here. And if I go down here, I can also see the volume. So number of sets per muscle group for this specific session. So we are in the full body session, and I can see in this session there are 6 sets of glutes, back 3 total sets, 3 sets of chest, and so on for all the muscle groups. So this data is all stored in the backend for you to manage and see also when you create a program directly for each session. Now if I go back to the homepage, I can now see the sessions. I can see a calendar of sessions if I want to have an overview of the entire month, for example, and then the training sessions completed, so that have been marked as done by month. And this can become useful over time once you collaborate with your client and you can actually see the progress. Right now in this example, because I only have 1 month, so it's a new client, it's not that relevant. Now if I go to track, I can also track the progress. And the progress in the current state of the app, as I've created, means tracking the weight, the body fat percentage, the muscle mass, and adding any notes and pictures as well. So this could be progress pictures over time. That's why as a user here, I can see all the progress tracking that I've done. If I want, I can edit them. This will open up a form for me to edit that data. And I can also add an update here. Where I can edit date, we'll select date, the weight, if I want to track this. Otherwise, I can also track 1 or 2 of these items. If I want to only track the body fat percentage, then I can enter here the body fat percentage or the muscle mass notes. And I can also add 1 or multiple pictures. And then I can do add. And this will create a new progress tracking in the backend, so in Airtable, and hence also on the app. And you can see now it opens the detail page of that tracking here. And if I want, I can also edit it. Another thing that I can track are sessions. And these are the same sessions that I can see as a user on the dashboard. But here I can see all of them over time. I can also filter by program, and I can see the date, if it is done, the program, notes, and if I want to mark it as done, I can mark it as done like that. If I want to open it, I can click on it, and this will open the session page that I showed you earlier. Then there is view. View is mostly to view information, and in particular I can view my details, and this is a history log where I can see information about my profile, the current program that I'm on, the initial body fat, what's the latest body fat percentage that I tracked, initial muscle mass, latest muscle mass, initial weight, latest weight, so that I can see at a glance the progress on these specific metrics. And if you want to add additional metrics or remove some of these, you can do that from Airtable. And here I can see the metrics tracked. I can also expand this to see more details like that. And I can quickly edit it via this button. Then I can see a list of all the training programs that I've done over time. I can filter by status and by goal here. And I can open the program to see more details. This is the program page where I can see what's the training adaptation, the primary adaptation, what's the objective, and the status, start date, end date, how many sessions I've completed, how many sessions are per week. This is inserted by you, the personal trainer. Then I can see this week's sessions, and I can see all the program sessions. I can open them like this to see the date, if it is done, the notes, and I can mark it as complete if I want. And to see more details, I can go always on the dashboard where I can see the appropriate data. So that's what, as a user, I can also see in programs where I see a list of all the programs that are associated with me and that I've done over time. And then I can open each program page here. Under nutrition, I can visualize my nutrition plans. I can open each plan to see more details. And from here, I can also visualize my invoices, and I can open them. And if you want, in the backend, you can include the payment link directly here, so that as a user, I can just click on it and pay the invoice. And finally, I can also contact or ask for help via this form. So here I will insert a message. I can attach files. Then I will do submit, and you will see that data automatically populated in the backend in the contact form responses table, where the user is automatically populated, their email address in here, the status of the request that you can manage here, and you can see the message. You can expand it and see the details in here. And this leads us to the Airtable base. So we're gonna check out the structure of this base. I'm not going to go into excessive details with this because I also made a separate video about using this Airtable base, how it is structured exactly, all the automations involved, the interface that is here. Because if you want, you do not necessarily need to use the Softr app to build your custom app, but you may also use just Airtable, either only for your internal tracking, or use Airtable and invite your clients to the interfaces that is set up on this base for that purpose. So for now, I'm just going to give a high-level overview of Airtable, and then we'll look at Softr from the admin side of the view. So how the app is actually set up and how you can change it or manage it in Softr. In this base, the first thing to know is that the clients table is the one where you manage users. So when you add a new client here, you can insert the email, and this data gets synced to Softr, where you will see a list of all the app users and where you can resend magic links, and the invites will be sent to the people that you add to this table and that have an email address. And I will show you what it looks like on Softr as well. So this table stores all the client data. You can also set the status of a client to archived if you don't work with them anymore. And then you can also expand a client record to see all the details across that client. And clients can have multiple progress updates over time. I showed you what it looks like on the app. As a client, I can enter updates for the weight, the body fat percentage, the muscle mass. I can add pictures, I can add notes. So this is a way to track progress over time. I only included these 3 metrics, but if you want to remove them, you can delete the field. And if you want to add additional metrics, you can add new fields here. You can also manage fields from tools, manage fields. And here you will see a list of all the fields in the table. You can also change tables to see all the fields in each table. And you can also quickly add a new field and search for existing ones. Then each client will also have goals over time. And these are the objectives that they pursue. And goals, together with training adaptations, that is more generic here. These are linked to the training programs. And here is where you will see all the programs across your clients over time. There are very specific workflows to create a program or duplicate an existing program in this interface that you will find in this base, that you will find in the interfaces tab, where there is a dedicated interface called create a new program that allows you to go through a specific flow to create a program. And I've explained this flow in detail in the other video that I recorded that is linked here. It is linked in the description of this video as well, where you will see a complete overview of the Airtable base. So that's why I'm not going to go into details here regarding that. And you can see here, each program is a record that you can expand to see dates, you can see the status, the session progress, and any other fields in here. Here's a view of programs by client, where you can see for each client all the programs, and you can see that programs can also have sub-programs. So if you do periodization, this can be a useful feature. So you have a program, and maybe there are different phases within the program, and that's what this allows you to do. Each program will then have sessions. So sessions are the ones that show up on the calendar of the person as well as on the dashboard. The first thing that they see is this week's sessions, and that's what they can mark as done. That's where they can see all the exercises that they can do. And you can see here that you can also see sessions in different formats, for example, by client and by program, in this table, where you can see for each client all the programs that they have. And within each program, you can see all the sessions that they have, the status of that session, and you can open it as per usual, as per any record in Airtable, and you can edit data directly from here. And whatever edit you make here will be reflected in the app for the end user. So you can understand that the app is a portal where you can communicate with the user directly by modifying data in a two-way sync fashion. Here is exercise tracking, and these are all the exercises that the trainees track for each session. So each session will have multiple exercises, like here, where you have, let's look at this. Full body A is composed of multiple exercises. For each exercise, you have sets, reps, rest, RP, percentage 100 max, the tracking, the weight, and all the data that I showed earlier in the video from the user perspective, where they can track everything. And you, as the personal trainer, can see all that data here. And you can also modify that data directly from your internal view. And all the changes that you make will be reflected to the end user. In nutrition plans, you can manage the nutrition plans for the client. And this component of the system is not really cultivated much in detail, because I decided to focus more on the tracking aspect of things, as in on the training, rather than on the nutrition plans aspect. So nutrition plans is mostly a reference section where you can enter information about plans that you offer to the clients, if that's something that you offer. If you do not, then you do not really need this. The status of the nutrition plan, and then you can enter some basic information like how many calories per day, tags just to quickly filter and find different nutrition plans, how many weeks this plan will last, notes, and that's pretty much it. You do not have a detailed meal plan approach, at least in this first version of the app. But if you have feedback on this, if you think you want that ability, if you think this is something valuable that you can have, then please let me know. Because of course my idea is to keep developing this app over time as more and more people use it and as I get feedback on it. And finally, you can see all the remaining tables that are more supportive, like invoices, where you manage the status of invoices. And for each invoice, you can enter the amount, type if it is recurring or one time, the file, and you can also see here the status that you can manage directly here. Then training movements is a list of exercises. You can customize this. This is helpful because then when you build a training program, within each session, you can select exercises directly from this list in a drop-down fashion, as opposed to having to write the name every time. So that's why this is an important table that you want to keep. And you can make edits as you like. You can remove exercises by right-clicking and then deleting record. You can select multiple of them like this, and then right-click, delete all selected records. You can change the data that you attach to each exercise, the execution tutorials that I used. You can change any of this freely. And if you want to track the exercise in the interface, then you can check this box. And this will allow you to see the 1 rep maxes over time for each client for that exercise. So the idea of this is to track mainly the compound lifts like deadlifts, bench press, squat. So if you track them in the interface, you will see over time, as your clients track them, how they progressed on that exercise. And you can see that in the dedicated interface that I also showed in the previous video. Muscle groups is a supporting table. This is just used here to link each exercise to the target muscle groups. And volume per muscle group also is a supporting table. It is a join table, technically speaking. You do not need to edit anything in here. It is just a way for you to visualize the volume per muscle group for each training program and training session when you build that program and the session. And you can visualize those in the interface. And then we also show those, as you saw earlier in the video, on the client app within each training session and program. And finally, contact form responses. This is if a user contacts you via a dedicated page and form submission on the app, you will see all those forms down here. All right, and here is the last part of the video, that is Softr. So once you copy the template or you build it your own, you can connect the Airtable base with Softr and then create a new app. That's what the app admin panel looks like. That's where you can manage the app, customize it to your own liking, remove pages, add sections, remove sections, and also view the app users. And the app users are connected to the clients table, as you can see here, and it syncs automatically. So whenever you add the client, that will be added in here. And that's why you can also add clients to groups. For example, let's say you have different tiers of clients, and you could create user groups in here to distinguish them. And this is only useful if you want to manage access to specific areas of the app based on the user group that your client is part of. Otherwise, I don't think there is any need for that. So by default, there is no user groups. If a client loses his or her login, then you can come here, generate a magic link, and send it to them for a quick access to the app, and then you can reset the password from their user profile. You can also remove users here by selecting them like this, also in bulk, and then selecting actions and delete. On the settings panel, you can manage the general settings of the app. So first, you can set the app name. You can set a subdomain. This is the Softr subdomain, but you can also use your custom domain. You can set the favicon just like on any website. And if you want to hide the Softr branding, then you can do this. This is only available on the professional plan or higher. Then you can set your custom domain here. You can see a guide on how to do that. Here's the data sources. That's not really relevant because we only use Airtable, but there are also other data sources that you can use in Softr in general. Then you can manage integrations here. For example, you could integrate the Google sign-in. So if you want to do that, if you want to allow users to sign in via Google and not just an email and password made purposefully for your app, then you can integrate Google here, and you can find the full guide and documentation on this section. And you can see a list of all the other integrations down here. Also, Stripe checkout could be a helpful integration for your app. If you want users to sign up on their own, then you can set the Stripe payment checkout form at sign up. So then they pay you and then they get access to the app. Mobile app, this is only possible with professional or higher plans, and it's a progressive web app, which means people can download it from the website directly. There will be a button at the bottom right where they can download the app, and then they will see the app directly on their phone, just alongside all the other apps that they have. So in here you can customize the look of the app. There is SEO, just like any website. There is some custom code that you can add on the paid plans, customize the design or some specific functionalities of the app. Then you can see user notifications, so you can customize what they look like when they get an invite, when they get a magic link, when they forget password. So you can customize all of these down here. You can also send a custom email sender, that is you or a member of your team. And then there are other settings that are mostly relevant for internal applications, so probably not relevant for your use case. Now in theme, you can set the theme. As you saw, I used a dark theme primarily throughout the app. That's just my preference, so I went with that. But here you can customize the colors, the fonts used, the roundness, and this is the master admin panel for managing the theme of the app. And finally, the key place in the Softr admin panel where you can manage all the content of the app is pages. That's where you will see all the pages in the app, just like a website. You can think of it as a website. And within each page, you can then customize whatever you want to show there. So when I click on a page, this will open the page here on the left, and then the blocks that I can add to a page on the right, which I can also close. When you click on pages, there is also the 3-dot menu where I can go to settings and I can customize the name, the URL log, SEO, social, and custom code. I can define the visibility, which is only for logged in users, all users, or non-logged in users. So you can play with that. And then on the app itself, I can see all the blocks down here. And if I click, for example, home, you can then customize the existing blocks, add new blocks or delete ones. So when I hover over a block, I see here the menu. If I click on it, then the editing panel shows up. I can see what's the source that this connects to in Airtable. In our case, that's the training sessions table. Then we filter by client. This is very much used across the entire app. We filter for all the data where the client includes the name of the current user. So when you click on it, you can go into logged in user and then select what data you want to filter by. So that's important because we don't want to show all the data that you have in Airtable to everyone. We just want to show the relevant data for each client. And that's why this filter is used very much across the entire app. Then for each block, you can define the content. This will vary depending on the block type. Many times in the app, I used the list block. That is a dynamic view like this, a dynamic view of a table that you can filter, and you can see here the headings that you want to add, what fields you want to show on each card in this case. And these are fields from the Airtable table. that you can select here. You can customize the label, the type of the field. You can set filters. You can allow people to search on the view. And then also you can set up actions. So actions are these buttons here that I set up, open and mark as done, for example, where people can directly click on those buttons. And then if they click on open, this will open the details page of the training session. If they click on mark as done, then this will do a one-click update action, which you can also change here. And this will mark the session as done. So we replaced it with, because done is a checkbox. Within each block, you can also customize the style. So when you go to styles, you can see all the options that you have here: colors, fonts, spacing, padding, margins, the roundness of elements, and then you can set the visibility on every block as well. So I did this work of setting up all the blocks and all the pages beforehand so that the structure is there, and you can either use the app directly as it is right now, or you can customize it for your own use case if it varies from what the template looks like. Then in that case, you will need to do some work on customizing the Airtable side of things, and then the Softr app side of things as well. You can contact me at any time if that's something that you need help with. And the final thing to know about Softr is that you can access each page right here. You can also set page rules. So page rules are, what does a user see if it is a logged in user after they sign in? What happens? Then we redirect them to a specific page, in this case the home page, but we can also select a different page. What happens once they sign up? Then we redirect them to the onboarding page. After sign out, it's going to be a sign-in page, and if a page has unauthorized access, so they can't see it for some reason, for some restrictions, for example, this might happen if a user is part of a group that has restricted access to a page, then we show the permission denied page. That's just a admin page that you can find on the list of pages here. Anytime you make edits to the app, or also if you want to just preview it, you can go here, click on preview. This will open a new tab that will load the app in preview mode, and you can preview the app from different user personas. So you can see it from a logged in user perspective here, where you can select the user. For example, I want to see it as Simo. Then I can see what the user sees exactly as he or she navigates the app. But if I want to see it as a non-logged in user, then I can click here and I do, okay, I understand. And then I will see what a non-logged in user sees, which is just a sign-in page. This is particularly helpful for troubleshooting, for example. If a user has some problems and you don't know exactly what's the source of that, then you can personify them in preview mode to see what they see and what they experience on the app. And this really concludes the overview of the custom app that you can build using Airtable and Softr. You can find relevant links as well as the link to the template directly in the description of the video. If you have feedback or if you have any questions, reach out to me. You can also find a contact form in the description, or you can leave a comment on this video. For now, I appreciate you watching this video and see you soon.